Ben Stein is coming to Pittsburgh. Join St. Barnabas Charities as we honor economist Ben Stein with the Hance Award at the St. Barnabas Founders Day celebration on Thursday, April 23rd at the Pittsburgh Marriott North in Cranberry Township. Call 724-625-3770 or order your tickets online at stbarnabascharities.com. Special thanks to presenting sponsor Cooks & Pierce. Proceeds benefit the St. Barnabas Free Care Fund.
Your mom holds a special place in your heart. She remembers everything about you, your first word, favorite toy, as well as the cute things you did as a child. She's always been by your side, making memories and your favorite cookies. Today, it's getting harder for her to live alone. St. Barnabas Memory Care and Personal Care Services will allow your mom to continue creating memories in a safe, caring environment. To schedule a tour, call 724-443-0700.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Best of Allegheny County, presented by St. Barnabas, which has been caring for people in southwestern Pennsylvania since 1900. I'm your host, Jim Roddey. Today in Allegheny, Beaver, and Butler counties, St. Barnabas offers the full continuum of care, including independent, assisted living, skilled care, medical center, memory care, home care, and much more. We have an exciting show for you today. Our guest is going to be Ben Stein. He is probably the most well-known and respected economist in the United States. He is the most famous economics teacher in America. His comedic role as the groaning economics teacher in Ferris Bueller's Day Off has been ranked as one of the 50 most famous scenes in movie history. In real life, Ben Stein is a powerful speaker on economics, politics, education, history, and motivation, and is considered one of the great humorists on political economy and how life works in this nation. He has a bachelor's degree with honors in economics from Columbia University, studied economics at Yale. He's a graduate of Yale Law School and has as diverse a resume as any man in America. Stein's background includes poverty lawyer for the poor in New Haven, trade regulations lawyer for the Federal Trade Commission, speechwriter for Presidents Nixon and Ford, a columnist and editorial writer for the Wall Street Journal, teacher of law and economics at the University of California, Santa Cruz, and Pepperdine University. He has written or co-written 30 books, many of which are New York Times bestsellers. Now, you may be wondering why Ben Stein, a famous economics expert, is on the Best of Allegheny County. Well, it's because he has been chosen as this year's St. Barnabas Founders Day Hance Award honoree. 2020 is a special year for St. Barnabas. We're celebrating our 120th anniversary. Ben, as this year's Hance honoree, you are joining an exclusive club from Charlton Heston and Debbie Reynolds, President Gerald Ford, Barbara Bush, Steve Allen, Buzz Aldrin, Fred Rogers, and many more. I'm
very excited.
When people first meet you, what do they want to know about your life?
They want to know how it is that I wound up doing so many different things and what it was about me that led me down so many different paths.
Well, you certainly have been versatile with all you've been an economist. By the way, who is your favorite or your most admired economist in the United States? Well,
it would have to be my father, because my father was quite a famous economist and quite a brilliant economist, and he was also my father, and he was a very, very nice man and a very kind, generous man. But I would say, aside from members of family, it would have to be Milton Friedman, who was a great genius of free market economics and who was the person who really, I think, made clearest the incredibly important link between free market economics and and a free society generally. The fact that you have a very hard time having one without the other.
Well, I would agree with you. I've always thought that he was the very best that I've ever heard, and I think University of Chicago was his university, and
yes, he was a graduate of the University of Chicago, and I had the incredible privilege of getting to know him right away, pretty much when I started out in college, because I was a student at Columbia, and he was taking a year off from the University of Chicago.
Well, did you ever know Alan? Did you ever know Alan Meltzer?
Of course. He was another smart guy, but I mean, and if he's a close friend of yours, I apologize, but I mean, nobody's in the same league as Friedman.
No, and Alan would agree with that. Alan and I serve on a board together, and we've been on the board together for about 20 years. And so I get to see him. He passed away a couple of years ago.
I'm sorry, I did not know that, and that just shows how he managed.
Yeah, I miss him a lot. Well, listen, I want to congratulate you on being the Hance Award winner at St. Barnabas. I think you are really going to enjoy meeting our president, William Day. He has built St. Barnabas from a very small nursing home into a center that has 6 campuses in 3 counties, over 800 employees, and it's the largest senior center in southwestern Pennsylvania. And
that's great. That's fabulous.
And we were founded, of course, in 1900, and Mr. Day is the 3rd president. We've only had 3 presidents.
Wow, that's amazing.
Isn't that something?
That's amazing. That's incredible. That's really incredible. Well, they obviously must have all had very good eating habits.
Well, of all of the impressive things you've done in your career, what are your top 3 favorite accomplishments?
Well, I'd say the first one, which probably will get you some angry phone calls, was working for Richard Nixon as a speechwriter and general defender, as one might say, of him during the Watergate era, when he was getting lambasted and just crucified all the time for various things that he had done and for many things that he had not done. And I think he was probably the most criticized person for the least bad stuff that he's done of any person in public life, at least that I am aware of. He was a great president. He accomplished an enormous amount, especially in foreign affairs, and but domestic affairs as well. And for this, mostly got slapped across the face roundly all over the country and all over the world for a great many years.
Well, I actually like Richard Nixon. I think the Watergate thing was certainly unfortunate, but I liked him because of his foreign policy, and he did a lot of good things for the Republican Party. He campaigned for people all over the United States.
He did, and it's an interesting thing, but when Richard Nixon was elected president, something on the order of 60% of southern school districts were still racially segregated by law. And when he left office, there were almost none. And he was a man who believed in racial integration and who believed in racial equality under law. And he put it into practice and made it happen.
And never got credit for it.
Didn't get any credit for it at all. And should have gotten a great deal of credit, and as I say, didn't get credit for it. He also had an amazing record in the economy. I mean, when he took over, the economy was really in terrible shape. There was a serious recession going on. There was serious inflation going on. And if I may immodestly say this, with the help of my father, who was chairman of his Council of Economic Advisors, he put a stop to that, although slowly but certainly, and brought the country to heel, so to speak, economically. And that was an enormous achievement that nobody thought could be done, but he managed to do it. And that was something, as I say, for which he got very little credit. He also got no credit at all whatsoever for restoring order in the streets. You might say to me, "You're I don't know how old you are, but I'm guessing you're too old or you're either too old or too young to remember that the streets were chaotic. The streets were chaos. There was rioting. There was demonstration. There was a tremendous amount of unhappiness in the streets of America, and he brought that to heel as well. Not to heel in the sense that you say to a dog, heel, but he brought that to heel in the sense that he said to people, we cannot have a country that's going to be run on the principles of order and justice, and also a country that's run on the principles of people going out in the street and getting high all day long. And that worked extremely well.
Well, I'm 87 years old, so I remember a lot of presidents.
God bless you, sir. God bless you, sir.
Well, there's a secret to living that long. And I've been married 66 years, and the secret to that is separate bank accounts and a bad memory.
That's very good. That's very, very good. I like that a lot. That's interesting, and I'm going to now have to diverge a little bit from our chosen path and say that it astonishes me that in today's world there are couples, even couples who've been married for a long, long time, who have separate bank accounts and who have separate economic accounts. Just generally speaking, I sort of can't imagine how they do that. My wife and I could no more do that than we could flap our wings and fly to the moon. We our economic lives are one and intertwined completely, and that's a bad thing for my wife because I'm extremely extravagant and she's not. But it's certainly a good thing for us in terms of our intimacy.
But I imagine she's a lot more savvy about economics than my wife, who has never balanced a checking account ever. But let me ask you.
Well, wait a second. So before you finish that, I am not so far behind you, sir. Not at all. I'm 75, and I have never balanced my checking account ever, not once ever, and I don't expect to ever do it again. Is there somebody in my account or someone will have to do it?
It's too late now. It's too late now for you.
That's way too late. It's way too late now. But I'm happy to say that I completely trust her with all of our financial matters. And sometimes that's been a mistake. I mean, I have occasionally come across checks for $17,000, which is to me a lot of money. I mean, it probably to you is not, but to me it's a lot. And I will say to my wife, who's this check made out to? And she'll say, I don't remember. And say, well, 17,000 is a pretty large amount to not remember. And she'll say, I know, I just can't remember. She said, if I remember, I'll let you know.
Well, that's that's why I have separate bank accounts. But let me tell you, you've only told me one of the accomplishments that you were most proud of. I want to hear about Ben Stein's money. That and about Ferris Bueller and how you ended up in a movie with a comedic role.
Well, that was a great stroke of extraordinary luck. When I first moved out here, I became back to L.A. I became close friends with a fellow, and he turned out to become very successful in the casting business and cast people in movies and TV shows. And he turned out to become the best friend and executive producer for John Hughes, the extremely successful maker of youth comedies.
Oh yeah,
and extremely successful. He made many
Comedy Central.
Well, no, he was not TV shows, but he was. I mean, he did just any really great youth comedy that you can think of. He had some hand in it, and he took a liking to me, and he thought I was funny, and he put me in several different movies, one of which was Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and he thought that people found me funny, and he was right. People did find me funny, and so he put me in that movie, in Ferris Bueller, and then he put me in several other movies, and little by little, I became one of his favorite craftsmen, one might say, in his movies. And then, unfortunately, he passed away quite young, and